Reddit tree presents paranormal activities. First event. I saw a whale today and think it was a sign from a dead loved one. Am I crazy? I wasn't sure where to post this, but here seemed appropriate, I guess. To start off, I am not even remotely religious or spiritual. I have nothing against people who are, but that has never been my inclination. That said, I really feel like I got a sign from my aunt today. We were really close. My sister and I lived with her for several years. She gave the best advice, would leave supportive notes in my lunch and tried to teach me to be a strong and kind person. She passed away when I was 20. Shortly afterwards I started dreaming about orcas all the time. It's been 7 years and I still have orca dreams. I never associated my aunt with orcas and just thought the dreams were some weird brain quirk. I grew up nowhere near the ocean and to my knowledge had never seen one before. Now I do live near the ocean. And because I keep dreaming about these animals that I've never seen, I was determined to go whale watching. I wanted to see what they look like in real life and maybe figure out why I was subconsciously fascinated with them. So today I went whale watching and called my parents before I left. I thought I had never seen an orca, but it turns out I had. My parents told me that my aunt took my sister and I whale watching when we were really little. I don't remember this, but I guess that's why my brain associated them with her. Anyway, so we get out on the water and find a pod of orcas. And turns out one of the orcas is leucistic. It had patchy skin and most of its body had no pigment. My skin is the same. I have vitiligo and about 90% of my body has no pigment. My aunt had the same skin condition and had lost almost all of her pigment as well. Apparently orcas like this are extremely rare. There were only 10 leucistic orcas ever recorded and only 3 living ones that we know of. I got chills when I saw it. My sister thinks it is some sort of cosmic sign. I really don't believe in life after death or anything like that. But I also felt my aunt's presence in a way that I cannot rationally articulate. I also had another recent weird experience. My sister and I were out of touch for a couple of months. She reached out to me right after she got a tattoo that our aunt also had. The night before my sister called me I dreamt about my aunt, which I never really had before. I just remember saying, "How are you here? You died," and her replying, "I know, but I am here." I thought nothing of it at the time, but this stuff is starting to freak me out. Am I just being crazy and looking for things to associate with my aunt? I've also been pretty lost lately and feel like she'd be able to give me the advice and comfort I need. So maybe I'm just imagining things. But I also really genuinely felt her presence. I don't know what I think about life or death anymore. Second event. Not so imaginary friend? For as long as I can remember I had an imaginary friend named Tim who I apparently described as a blonde 4-year-old boy. He was my brother's friend too apparently, but I never knew until recently when my stepmom told me they left in the car and had to go back to pick up Tim because my brother was hysterical about leaving him. I don't remember playing with him. But people have told me that I would sit in my room for hours and play with him. Sometimes when I would go to the bathroom at night I'd glance at the mirror and see a little blonde head running down the hallway. I have had so many crazy things. My dad even told me about the time he was taking a shower and he heard a boy calling for him. He didn't see the boy, but he said a clear picture of a little blonde boy popped into his head. He was so terrified he ran outside in his towel and waited until everyone got home. Then, I moved back to my father's home temporarily as an adult, and I remember one night. I was laying there in the dark and I look up to see a little boy standing by the side of my bed. He had a blonde bowl cut and these crazy staring eyes. I could see his face in detail even though it was dark. I stared for so long trying to see through him, trying to make sure he was just a towel hanging on the closet door or something. But I couldn't. Eventually I got this undying urge to touch him. I reached my arm out and just as I touched him he disappeared. It's only happened one other time since then. Third event. A ghost crawled into my room last night. I'm staying with a friend for a little while. This was at her house. My friend was asleep next to me, and I was awake and crying a little bit, enough for my throat to burn but not enough to wake my friend. It was around 1:30 a.m. when the door to our room creaked open. I looked over, and called out the name of her mom, thinking that she was coming in to check on us in the night. Instead, I see the figure of a man crawl into the room on its hands and feet. It was like a really low bear crawl, keeping very close to the ground. Then, the figure stands up. It was a very tall man who was entirely black with no face. We made eye contact for a solid second or two before it vanished before my eyes. I am a very spiritual person, but I have never experienced anything like this. I got a very bad vibe from the spirit, and turned on a light in the hallway once I got my bearings again. I managed to fall asleep, and when I woke up the first thing I did was cleanse the house and put up protection wards, banishing the spirit. I think the spirit wanted to feed off of my negative energy. I've been having a tough time lately, being in the midst of a very turbulent part of my life. I had been crying just before the spirit entered the room, and I cannot express how many bad vibes I got from the whole experience. I have some questions, like why the hell did it crawl into the room? How did it manage to open the closed door? Where did it come from? I also wonder what the spirit's real intentions were, and if it was coming for me or for my friend who was sleeping beside me. I'm not sure it expected to be seen by me, seeing as how quickly it vanished when we made eye contact. Why did it crawl? Why? Of all the things you could do as a creepy spirit. This isn't the first ghost I've seen, but it's definitely been one of the closest and scariest encounters I've had. Last but not the least event. Something appeared as my daughter. Okay, so this happened in my old house around 2016/17. So I'm upstairs one evening washing my hair over the bath. I have my youngest son with me who was around 3 years at the time. Now my partner, kid's dad, had recently passed away. I think this is relevant as my experiences of the paranormal really skyrocketed after and just before he passed. Anyways, I'm washing my hair and my eldest daughter comes home. She's about 15 years at this time. She walks into the bathroom and says hello to myself and her brother. I can't turn around properly as my head is hanging over the bath, but I answer her and her brother says hello. I finish with my hair and go to head downstairs. The stairs are to my right in front of me and her bedroom to the left. As I go downstairs, I see my daughter in her bedroom doorway reaching up as if putting something away. I don't say anything as I'd just spoken to her and head downstairs, my youngest in tow. I go to the kitchen and my daughter is in there. I'm like, what the hell, I just saw you in your room. I notice that her clothes are different from what she was wearing upstairs and her hair is down. It was not upstairs. She does tell me that she did come in the bathroom but headed straight downstairs after doing so. I didn't hear this, however, as I had the shower head over my hair. I asked my youngest son if he had seen his sister upstairs when we were coming down and he told me yes. We lived in a small 3-bed house in the UK. There was no way she could have got downstairs before me and her also change her whole damn outfit and hair in a couple of seconds. Got to admit, I did not like the feeling that came over me. I just felt negative straight away. But I didn't want to scare the kids or myself. I look back and think that I was attracting a lot of the things that were happening to me. I was at the beginning of a traumatic grieving process where I almost felt like my brain was breaking down. But my youngest son witnessed this. And to this day things will happen to him. Only yesterday there was a strange incident with him. But that's for another time. Anyone else had an encounter like this?